Okay, so you know how I played Dear Esther on my other channel? Well, it was originally a Half-Life 2 mod, which is this one here. And since I thought the remake was really good, I wanted to see how the mod was like, and I wanted to see the similarities and the differences between the two. So let's get started.
Dear Esther, the gulls do not land here anymore. I've noticed that this year they seem to shun the place. Maybe it's the depletion of the fishing stock driving them away. Perhaps it's me. When he first landed here, Donnelly wrote that the herds were sickly and their shepherds the lowest of the miserable classes that populate these Hebridean islands. 300 years later, even they have departed.
No ghost this time. Yeah. It's much foggier in this one. Ooh, look at the ocean.
Come back. Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
No subtitles either. That's new.
At night, you can see the lights sometimes from a passing tanker or trawler. From up on the cliffs, they are mundane. But down here, they fugue into ambiguity. For instance, I cannot readily tell if they belong above or below the waves. The distinction now seems banal. Why not everything and all at once? There's nothing better to do here than indulge in contradictions whilst waiting for the fabric of life to unravel.
Don't worry, guys. I'll respond to him afterward when I'm done with this. Yeah, this is way different.
Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight. He landed on the south side of the island, followed the path to the bay and climbed the mount. He did not find the caves, and he did not chart the north side. I think this is why his understanding of the island is flawed, incomplete. He stood on the mount and only wondered momentarily how to descend. But then, he didn't have my reasons. When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
So, this is basically the exact same thing, except it's just the regular source graphics. and there's no
I quote
subtitles.
directly.
Oh,
A motley lot with little to recommend them. I have now spent 3 days in their company. That is, I fear, enough for any man not born amongst them. Despite their tedious inclination to quote scripture, they seem to me the most godforsaken of all the inhabitants of the Outer Isles. Indeed, in this case, the very gravity of that term, forsaken by God, seems to find its very apex. It appears to me that Donnelly, too, found those who wander this shoreline to be adrift from any chance of redemption. Did he include himself in that, I wonder?
alright. Apparently the voice can the two narrations, if they're too close to each other, if there's a narration already going and you run into another one, they can mix. So I'm trying to avoid that. That's why I'm stopping, because I'm trying to avoid that. So yeah, just letting you know there.
Dear Esther,
See, yeah,
I met Paul.
it would have mixed that way.
I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Okay, so this is one of the caves,
I
but
find myself increasingly unable to find that point where the hermit ends and Paul and I begin. We are woven into a sodden blanket, stuffed into the bottom of a boat to stop the leak and hold back the ocean. My neck aches from staring up at the aerial. It mirrors the dull throb in my gut where I am sure I've begun to form another stone. In my dreams, it forms into a perfect representation of Lot's wife, head over her shoulder, staring along the motorway at the approaching traffic in a vacuum of fatalistic calm.
yeah, those looked like regular source rocks. Okay, let's get out of the water. I started over there, by the way. In case, if you were curious. What the? What's that? I don't remember that music coming in through here. I thought that was at the end of the game. Okay then.
I dreamt I stood in the center of the sun, and the solar radiation poked my arm from the inside. My teeth will curl, and my fingernails fall off into my pockets when moments change. If I could stomach, I'd eat, but all I seem capable of is salt water. With the livestock still here, I could turn through.
I can't hear what you're saying.
To this island in a heart without a bottom, all the bacteria in mankind rising up to sing to me.
I have no idea what you said because of the music.
Come back. Esther.
Wait, the rocks. Are the rocks here? Oh wait, they're not here this time. Unless those are the rocks. They might be. Huh. Everything's just a teeny bit different. It's the only big difference is the text, the graphics, the textures. Oh, loading. So far, there are lots of differences. Why did I say teeny differences? There's a lot of differences.
I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times.
Now that I think about it.
But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome break services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
There was... If you've seen me play the remake, there was a ghost here. Yeah, there it is. It's still there. Well, that's cool. It was white because of the fog. Well, yeah, did you see it? It moved.
I had kidney stones, and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Oh, there's the radio tower that we meet at the very end of the game. I like the music in this game. Oh, the hole. Is this the gigantic pit? Oh yeah. Is this supposed to be the gigantic pit? Huh. Wonder why there isn't a narration. I guess it just must have been for the remake. I don't know. I don't know these things. Let's go see what's over here. There's no, I mean, they're like, it's not forced, it's like, it seems like it's, this is, makes me like, this, isn't holding my hand as much. Like, you know?
I've begun my ascent on the green slope of the western side. I've looked deep into the mountain from the shaft, and understood that I must go up and then find the way under. I will stash the last vestiges of my civilization in the stone walls and work deeper from there. I'm drawn by the aerial and the cliff edge. There is some form of rebirth waiting for me there.
Huh. Rebirth. Isn't that like reborn or something? Oh. Yeah. That radio tower looks way closer than before.
Originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him, either.
I noticed something. You can't zoom in like you could in the remake. Now, so that was another addition. The music is still nice.
3 cormorants seen at dusk. They did not land. This house built of stone, built by a long-dead shepherd. Contents: my camp bed, a stove, a table, chairs, my clothes, my books. The caves that score out the belly of this island, leaving it famished. My limbs and belly famished. This skin, these organs, this failing eyesight. When the battery runs out in my torch, I will descend into the caves and follow only the phosphorescence home.
Alright, let's do that. Whoa! Oh, that was a seagull. Huh, yeah. Oh wait, the trail's over here. Huh. I was about to go somewhere where I wasn't supposed to. Oh yeah, thanks Arrow. I would never have figured that out myself. Actually, I wouldn't, since there's no railings to make me feel like I'm on rails. I think I kind of like that better, so that I'm not lost. I mean, like, I'm not saying that
What to make of Donnelly, the laudanum and the syphilis? It is clearly not how he began, but I've been unable to discover if the former was a result of his visiting the island or the force that drove him here. For the syphilis, a drunk driver smashing his insides into a pulp as he stumbled these paths, I can only offer my empathy. We're all victims of our age. My disease is the internal combustion engine and the cheap fermentation of yeast.
So I'm not saying it's easy to get lost. I'm just saying that it's easier to get lost than it is in the remake. That's all I'm saying. I almost went off the trail as an example. There's no music. No voice. 3, 2, 1.
They found Jakobsen in early spring.
Oh, delay.
The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. All around him, small flowers were reaching for the weak sun. The goats had adjusted happily to life without a shepherd and were grazing freely about the valley. Donnelly reports they hurled the body in fear and disgust down the shaft, but I cannot corroborate this story.
I think I know what you mean by that. I think. Oh, the caves. It feels like I'm
climbing down to the caves. I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves. Winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the effects of my stone. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
I feel like this is going by quicker than it did in the remake. Okay. Oh. Huh. Got some 60 FPS here. The reason why I can't see it is because I'm only recording in 30 FPS. Okay, so this is where I injure my leg. Yep.
From here, this last time, I have understood there is no turning back. The torch is failing along with my resolve. I can hear the singing of the sea creatures from the passages above me, and they are promising the return of the gulls.
Oh. Huh. I still have my flashlight. That's different. Let's see here. Ooh. I remember.
I saw him sat by the side of the road. I was waiting for you to be cut out of the wreckage. The car looked like it had been dropped from a great height. The guts of the engine spilled over the tarmac, like water underground.
So, yeah. Sorry about that. I was being yelled at by related people or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how that sounded, but I don't think I described it correctly. Apologies if you don't understand. Yeah. The cave scene in the remake was way more realistic and detailed. Oh hey, I remember this part. Yeah, the bridge. When is the next narration gonna come along? I think it was somewhere around here. It's so hard to get up here, apparently. I like the music. It's very nice. I think who did it with her. I think her name was Jessica Curry. Okay, this is the flashback thing here. Wait a minute. What? What is this? Okay, this is weird. I don't remember that. I don't remember there being cars in the caves. That's new. Yeah, there's some parts of the caves where there is some random 60 FPS. Same thing's happening here. Well, that was it. Well, that was shorter than before. Way shorter. Okay. Well, we're at the final map already.
I wish I could have known Donnelly in this place. we would have had so much to debate. Did he paint these stones or did I? Who left the pots in the hut by the jetty? Who formed the museum under the sea? Who fell silently to his death into the frozen waters? Who erected this godforsaken aerial in the first place? Did this whole island rise to the surface of my stomach, forcing the gulls to take flight?
Oh, hey, there's the ghost over there. If you remember from the mod, there was a ghost standing at a balcony or something like that. Something like exactly like that. It's hard to see it.
We shall begin to assemble our own version of the North Shore. We will scrawl in dead languages and electrical diagrams and hide them away for future theologians to muse and mumble over. We will send a letter to Esther Donnelly and demand her answer. We will mix the paint with ashes and tarmac and the glow from our infections. We will paint a moon over the Sanford Junction and blue lights falling like stars along the hard shoulder.
Robert. Come back to the beacon? That's where I'm headed. There's the trail that leads up there.
From here, I can see my Armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
It's still there. In the distance. Oh, here we go. It's up here. It's over here.
There were chemical diagrams on the posters on the walls on the waiting room. It seemed appropriate at the time. Still life abstractions of the processes which had already begun to break down your nerves and your muscles in the next room. I crammed diazepam as I once crammed for chemistry examinations. I am revising my options for a long and happy life.
I'm worried about falling here. I really don't want to fall. This path sure feels a little narrow, you know. I'm not even.
Drag my leg behind me. I will drag it like a crumpled hatchback, tires blown and sparking across the dimming lights of my vision. I'm running out of painkillers and am following the flicker of the moon home. When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they restarted his heart with the jump leads from a crumpled hatchback. It took 21 attempts to convince it to wake up.
Ooh. Look at that. That's actually kind of a nice view. That doesn't even need the improved graphics. Huh. Whoa, 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 I almost fell there. And the ghost is going to disappear.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
Trailer narration.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Here. Ways. I can't read that.
Returning to my car afterwards, hands still shaking, and a head split open by the impact. Goodbye to tearful aunts and traumatized uncles. Goodbye to the phenomenal. Goodbye to the tangible. Goodbye Wolverhampton. Goodbye Sanford. Goodbye Cromer. Goodbye Damascus. This cliff path is slippery in the dew. It is hard to climb with such an infection. I must carve out the bad flesh and sling it from the aerial. I must become infused with the very air.
Huh. I've heard that song before. Earlier.
Blind with panic, deaf with the roar of the cage traffic, heart stopped on the road to Damascus. Paul sat at the roadside, hunched up like a gull, like a bloody gull, as useless and as doomed as a syphilitic cartographer, a dying goat herd, an infected leg, a kidney stone, blocking the traffic bound for Sanford and Exeter. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. All his roads and his tunnels and his paths led inevitably to this moment of impact. This is not a recorded natural condition. He should not be sat there with his chemicals and his circuit diagrams. He should not be sat there at all.
Okay, so we are at the beacon. And this is the but yeah, this is the last stop. I'm actually gonna go ahead and wait here until the this actually looks really different from the last time. Let's see here. This looks a lot different. What's that? Hey, Esther. Huh. Hmm. That's weird. Huh.
Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We have always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent. Come back.
Okay, so that was Dear Esther, the mod edition. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. To be honest, my opinion is that, whoa, sorry, since I don't have a pop filter, I need to bring the microphone away from a little bit. But yeah, in my opinion, the remake was really well done, and I enjoyed this just as much. So, links in the description. Play it for yourself, and leave a like, add your favorite, share with your friends, if it, blah blah blah. I'll see you next time. Peace in.